Hello, welcome to Jiva Yoga Live. My name is Mackenzie, and today we are going to talk about the definition of pranayama. Hello, if you're looking for more information about yoga and pranayama, make sure you hit subscribe. Okay, so let's begin with the definition of pranayama. I'll also explain to you a few of the reasons why people practice pranayama, and make sure you stick around until the end of the video for a short grounding pranayama sequence that you can try today. So let's get started with what pranayama exactly means. So the word pranayama comes from the two Sanskrit words prana and ayama. Prana is the life energy that flows in all of us and helps connect us to the universe and to each other. Ayama can be translated as to regulate or control. So the practice of pranayama is essentially moving and controlling our prana life energy through the breath. In the yogic tradition, the ancients believed that our prana flows up the body with every inhale and down the body with every exhale. So therefore, by using the breath, we're able to help this prana flow freely. So now that you know what pranayama is, let's talk a little bit about why people have practiced pranayama. In the past, the ancient yogis first started using pranayama as a way to remove blockages either within the physical body or the energetic body that might have prevented prana from flowing freely. In addition to that, there were also techniques that allowed yogis to live in extremely cold, harsh environments. They were able to regulate their body temperature, their heart rate by using these techniques. And to the other end of the spectrum, there are also techniques that allowed yogis to slow their heart rates almost to just a few beats a minute, allowing them to enter very deep meditative states. Of course, in the end, for yogis in the past and yogis today, we all would eventually hope to reach enlightenment, and pranayama is one of the best ways to help us do this. So modern pranayama practices stem from these ancient practices that yogis began. Today, people are rediscovering pranayama can be used to help them unwind after a long, stressful day, lower their heart rates when they're feeling angry or anxious. Pranayama can also be used to help stimulate our nervous system when we need to focus or prepare for a big test or maybe a presentation. There are also pranayama techniques that aid in things like digestion or sleeping better. And of course, as I mentioned before, yogis are still coming back to pranayama over and over again because of the amazing powers it has in letting you go into your inner mind and meditate and practice yoga on a much deeper level. So now that you know a little bit about what pranayama is and why people practice it, let's talk about who can do pranayama. So the wonderful thing about this practice is all you need is you and your breath. Once you have those two things ready, you can really practice pranayama anywhere at any time. So if you're just beginning your pranayama practice, it's helpful to keep in mind that most of us do not breathe correctly. For that reason, it can be a little bit uncomfortable and difficult in the beginning because essentially you're using a muscle that you haven't been using correctly for a while. So keep in mind that it's totally fine to go very slow, to work your way through the techniques, and it will get easier and it will eventually feel much more comfortable, not just on your mat, but also in your daily life. If you are beginning pranayama for the first time, you should definitely talk to your doctor if you have any kind of respiratory illness or condition, as well as conditions such as pregnancy, anything where it could be dangerous or difficult for you to consciously change your rate of breathing. It's always best to check with a medical professional first. Okay, so now that we know who can do pranayama, what do you need to practice pranayama? As I said before, the only thing you really need is your breath. Find yourself a very calm, peaceful, quiet environment where you can focus on going into yourself and you don't have as many distractions or noises in your outside world. So that could be as simple as finding a quiet corner in your bedroom or your living room. You can also head outside into nature. It can be a very beautiful way to experience pranayama, maybe in your garden or in a local park. And once you have your environment set up, feel free to really make the experience your own. So this could be lighting candles or incense, maybe a little bit of calm music. Just like any yoga practice or when you go to the gym, this is your time for you, and whatever you can do to make the experience more impactful for yourself, you should go for it. Last, let's talk briefly about some methods of pranayama you might already have heard of. So the first one is called the 3-part breath. This is a very common way for yoga teachers to begin their classes because of all the pranayama techniques. It really is the most accessible to everyone. It's extremely safe to practice, and it's easy once you get the hang of it, but it does take a little bit of work in the beginning because it's retraining you essentially to work on that breathing muscle that I mentioned before that many of us have kind of lost contact with. So during the 3-part breath, you focus on moving the breath from the belly to the ribs and then to the chest, and then exhale in that opposite order. So exhaling from the chest first, the ribs, and then the belly. This breathing technique has a very calming effect and does a really good job when you're experiencing stress or anxiety. Breathing from the diaphragm actually has a direct impact on your stress response and can help stop and reverse that response. A second common pranayama practice is gradually creating a longer exhale than inhale. And this also can have a really strong impact on your heart rate. And more importantly, it trains us to fully exhale, getting all of the stale air out, which is actually the only way you can have a full, fresh inhale. So this can be as simple as starting with a 2-second inhale and a 3-second exhale, gradually working your way up to longer counts. There is a technique known as the 4-7-8 breathing method, in which you inhale for 4 seconds, pause for 7, and then exhale fully for 8. So a last technique, also very commonly used in yoga practice, is called alternate nostril breathing. And it is essentially what it sounds like. You're breathing in through one nostril, taking a pause, and then exhaling through the opposite. And this technique has a very balancing effect on our mind. So it's helping us to find a balance between our masculine and feminine sides. In science, it is balancing the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous systems, which are related with our fight or flight response, and then that rest and digest response. So kind of finding a balance between those two sometimes conflicting systems. Okay, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have learned a little bit about what exactly pranayama is and why it can be beneficial to you in your life. So if you'd like to give it a try now, we're going to do a short practice on the 3-part breathing technique. This practice can be very helpful, a very beautiful way to start your day, as it will help you kind of begin with a sense of calm, a sense of peace, also a wonderful way to end your day. But especially if you find a moment throughout the day when your stress levels are rising, you feel that anxiety building up, this can be done in just a few moments and can have a direct impact on bringing that level back down. So if you'd like to give it a try, we'll go ahead and start in a seated position. I like to sit up on a blanket or a pillow when I'm doing pranayama in a seated posture. It just helps take a little bit of pressure off of your lower back and off of the hips as well. So go ahead and come up. And with this technique, as I mentioned before, we're going to work on using our diaphragm muscle. So reawakening that breathing muscle that we've all kind of forgotten about. So the first part of this breath is going to be bringing the breath into the belly. The second step, we're going to bring it into the ribs. And then finally, we're going to bring it into the chest. So we'll practice each of these parts separately and then bring it all together in the end. All right, so we'll begin by placing the hands on the lower belly to really help us feel that expansion. And your goal here is to create a little belly balloon. So we're going to inhale slowly for 3 seconds through the nose. Take a little pause at the top of the inhale and then exhale also in the belly for 3 seconds. Let's give it a try. So inhale and exhale. Great, let's try that 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale and exhale. Great. So the second part of this 3-part breathing exercise is bringing our inhale into the rib cage. So go ahead and rest your hands on the ribs. And here we really want to try and promote that flaring out of the ribs on the inhale and then helping them squeeze back together on the exhale. So again, through the nose for 3 seconds. Here we go. Inhale and exhale. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. I already feel that calm washing over me, and we're halfway through. All right, so last, let's bring the breath into the upper chest, which might be the easiest step for you since this is actually where the majority of us breathe from. So again, for 3 seconds, we'll inhale, little pause at the top, and then a full 3-second exhale. And inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Inhale and a full exhale. All right, so now you have all 3 parts of your 3-part breathing exercise ready to go. So we're going to put them all together with 1 second for each part of the body. Again, a little pause in between the inhale and exhale, and then we'll exhale in that opposite order. So chest first, ribs second, and then the belly will flatten last. All right, and we'll go ahead and do 2 to 3 rounds of this at your own pace. Let's begin. So first, hands on the belly to inhale. And exhale. Try that again. Nice, and go through those rounds 1 more time, maybe gently closing the eyes on this last one and really feeling the different parts of your body expand and contract. Last time, here we go. Beautiful. When you finished your last round, go ahead and rest the hands on the knees and gently release the control over your breath. Let your inhales and exhales return to a normal, natural pace for you. And take a few moments here just to soak in that new feeling you might have created for yourself and sort of check in with your body to how you feel now after practicing. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned some new information about pranayama and you are now excited and motivated to give this practice a try in your own life. And I hope to see you again in the future so we can continue to learn about this together. If you like this video, feel free to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and hit subscribe. And remember, you can always find more information on jivayogalive.com.